So Python is a programming language, and for you to be able to communicate with Python, you must be able to write your programming, your language in a format that Python will understand. And the last time, we've talked about the introduction to Python, control statement flow, and the rest. But today we are going to talk about we are going to look at working with data files in Python. Working with data files in Python, and for anyone that is a Python programmer, sorry, a data analyst. A data analyst could be you can even in the field of medicine, pharmacy, in the field of marketing, they even in Google everywhere, they make use of data analysis. And what that means is you generate data from maybe from the field, maybe from the hospital, maybe from engineering site, and they send data to you as a data analyst and say, okay, this is the data we've gotten from maybe from the hospital, from maybe from campus, from anywhere, from market. It could be it could be Amazon data, and they give it to you and said, okay, this is data we have for you as a data analyst. Can you please look at this data, compare? For example, they may say, okay, compare the patient's review on a particular drug to the sales of that review, maybe in the year 2022. So they give you the number of patients that purchase maybe a cancer drug, different cancer drugs, maybe CDK4 inhibitor, maybe PDL inhibitors, maybe anti-SARS-CoV-2 drugs, maybe HIV drugs. So they give you the list of those drugs. They give you the review that people have done on it, and they give you the percentage sales of it, and they ask you to say, okay, how does the review correspond to the sales? Does the review, maybe bad or good review, does it actually has effect on the sales? I'm just using that for example. And at the same time, it could be maybe in an engineering settings, they may ask you to say, okay, can you just give us information about the length of, maybe the length of, maybe the number of cement for constructions compared to the building that was built, just to know how people patronize the building materials, for example. Another option which we are going to look at is people that are in estate management, or they want to, or maybe social workers. They want to see what is the cost of, what is the price of rent, what is the rent for, maybe for Stafford, maybe for Houston generally. They can say, okay, what is the rent in Stafford for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom? What is the rent in maybe in Dallas for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom? So they get all those information. They call them data. They get them together and they can send it to you. Okay, can you please do, as data analyst, can you please work on this data and give us some inferences of some observation? So that's what you are going to do. And once you have the data, how do you make use of that data on Python? What I mean is, how will you be able to work with the data on Python? So working with data files in Python is very good. And many people that are called, some people even just know what they call themselves data analysts, and they are working for big companies. All they do is just to work on pandas, data frame. That's all they do, and they are making their income. So data analysis is a very good thing, and using Python is one of the most prominent programming language that you can use for data analysis. So like I have it in summary, in this session, we understand how to get data into analysis. We will go through different approaches that can be used to read data from various sources. So in these four sources, we are going to look at data from a list. Data from a list. So in this case, I have a list called my list equals to, so in this list we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You understand? And what this statement is saying, for value in my list, that's for value. That means what this means for value, that means for element. We can see for element, remember the last class, for value in my list, okay, print value multiplied by raised to power 2. And so what this means is, what this is trying to show us now is this. The first one, so these are the values in this list, my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we said for every value that is in my list, can you please print square of each of them. And if you look at it, if you take 1, the square of 1 is what? Is 1. If you take 2, the square of 2 is what? 4. So this value is going to go into this list and take them one by one. Square of 1 is 1. It goes again to the next one, which is 2. The square of 2 is 4. Then to the next one, which is 3. So at this point, the value is 3 now. So square of 3 is 9. For 4, raised to the power 2, 16, 25. So that is how it is. Let me show you. Let's take another. Let's say now. Let's assume. Let's say H in class. Maybe for this is the age of guys in a class, and they give you, okay, want you to work on the age of in class. Maybe we have 33. This we have this, for example. Now, so I can say, we can say for, let's say for age in age underscore class. Let's assume this is the age of P1 pharmacy student, of the pharmacy student. Now, so for age of the P of student in this class. Now, print each of them. Finally, you want to say, okay, what will be their age in the next 10, maybe the next 15 years. So I'm just using that for example. So you can just say age plus 15. So if you want to know their age in the next 15 years, age plus age, and just, can you see? Then the purpose of this end is for us to have a straight, instead of having it vertical like this, we can have it straight like this. End equals to, so can you see? So age of the class, these are the age of the people, of the 5 students we have in the class. So for age in class, this is our list. So for age in this list, print age plus 15 and equals to, the purpose of putting this n is we can have it straight like this, instead of having, you can have it horizontal instead of having it vertical. That's the purpose of this command that I have here. So the same thing is applicable for this. Now we can also make, if you remember when we did what is called range, you can have a range. Let's type range 5. So that means this range means in this range we have 0 to 5, right? So you can say, okay, for value in range 5, that's from 0 to 5, print value plus 1, then the square of it, and end. What this means, so there are different ways you can manipulate whatever data you are working with. So in this case now, they are just saying, okay, this is the range, is from 0 to 5, right? Now, for value in range, that's from 0 to 5, that is in range. Now, print the value plus 1, then raise to the square of this. So before you take the value, the square of this, first of all, add 1 to the value. Once you add 1 to the value, then you can get the square, the square. So now the question now is, we have 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. So let's, if the range is from 0 to 5, the first element is 0. So 0 plus 1 is 1. Square of 1 is what? Is 1. After 0, the next element is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Square of 2 is 4. The next value is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Square of 3 is 9. So that's the way it's going. So when you are working with data, there are instances that you have to do something like this. It may not be exactly like this for your data, especially for those that are doing mathematics, that has to do with mathematical data sets. So there are times you have to do some kind of manipulation, maybe like log p, cosine, and the rest for elements, So instead of you typing the, imagine in this case, we only have, example, in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now imagine you have, maybe we have 100 students. Do you want to be adding 15 to their age? No. You don't have to, you don't have to, all you just need to do is, you want to see for value in your list, then print your command, whatever you want it to be done on them. That's what we have here. You can have there. So that's what we did here. Now, another thing we can also do for this kind of data set is testing value as we loop through a list. When we are talking about loop, I said it last time, loop is you looking from, just like looking from the first element in a list to the last element in that list. So you loop through it and following a certain set of conditions, like we did last time. So for example, like this example I have here, my value, my underscore value is 14. So for this variable, this is the value. The value is 12. Now, for value in range 5, so we now make a new list. That's from 0 to 5. If not found is equals to is true. Now, not found is equals to true. So if value is equals to my value, that means any, if the value that is in this range from 0 to 5, if it's equals to 12, which is the value of my value, can you see? Print found it. Can you understand that logic now? We already defined this variable, my value, as 12. Then we now have a list that is in range 5. That's from 0 to 5. We now said not found is equals to is true. This is another variable. This is the another variable not found. Then the value is true. Now, if the value in range from 0 to 5, if the value is equals to my value, which is 12, print found. That means my value is present in this list. Now, if not found is equals to false, break. So if not found is equals to true, it's not in there. Now look at this. For us to be able to understand this properly, let us do something. Let me use this that we use here. So let's assume in this class now, in this class, let's assume the age in this class, we have 22 years old, we have 34, we have 54. So let me change this to 44. So we have 54 and we have 64 now, isn't it? That is the list that we have. So now, let's say in this class, we want to check in this, because let's say in this class there are many. I want to see, is there anybody that his age is exactly 20 years old? So let's give this x is equals to 20. So this is, we want to check from this list. Let's assume this is a long list and we are not sure. It's because we have just 5 students. That's why ordinarily we know there is no value for 20, right? But let's assume you have a very list. Maybe you got they ask you to get the age of, analyze the age of retired senior citizen in Houston that already filled their forms, and you have to look for, is there anybody that is less than, maybe we are looking for senior citizen that is more than 60 years old, and you want to check from your data, and you have like millions of citizens that filled that form in your data, and you want to check, is there anybody that is less than 60 years old in this list? Looking at that list of millions senior citizens will be time consuming. So instead of you doing that in your data sent to you as a data analyst, you don't need to stress yourself looking it one by one, looking at millions of values. No, all you just need to do is, okay, let's assume this is the value, millions of each, and you want to see, okay, is there anybody that is less than 50 years old in that list? Maybe the people that qualify to fill that list should be from 60 upward, and you want to see your data if there's anybody that mistakenly put 50. So just put, so now say x is equals to 20. Now, so for the value, or let's say for the age, since we are used to it, you can use anything, just be consistent. For age in this list, in this class, right? For age in class. So let's say not found is equal to true, right? So if age equals to x. So now, if there's anybody in this list that his age is less than 20, maybe these are the list of people, students, and ordinarily you don't expect anybody that is less than 20 below should be in the class, and you want to verify. So if age is equals to x, that's if age is equals to 20, right? Print not permitted in this class. Let's now. Now, so if not found is equals to false, then you ask it to break. That break means to stop, right? Now, so if not, so this thing that I'm doing, you can also use our previous method of if, else, and elif. You can use that. You can use the method too. So depending on which one you understand most, you can use that method too. Found equals true. Print all are permitted in the class. So let's print this. Can you see? It says all are permitted in the class. So because the condition is this, let me put the condition: anyone below 20 years is not supposed to be in this class. So that is it. So anyone that is below 20 years is not allowed to be in this class. And we already got the age of the people. So now, this, ordinarily we know from here, because we have those 5 students, and we know truly there's no 20 here. But imagine you have a letter sent to you, maybe from Harris County or from Social Security Office, that has millions of people. Looking at that data one by one is not going to work for you. All you just need to do is use this method. So is this, then we say x is 20. So we want to check if there's anybody that is below, equals, or below 20 in this list. So for age in this list, now not found is true. This and that, so not found is equals to true. If age is equals to 20, is print not permitted in this class. So anybody that, and if our program says there is 20 in that class, someone is 20 years old in that class, then he is not permitted in that class. But if not found is equals to false, break. So if not found is equals to true, then print all are permitted. So that's what you do. And if you look at it, 20, after it runs through this, it look at all of them. X is never equals to the value in this element. That is why it says all are permitted in the class, because nobody is more than two. Nobody says is 20 years old. So let's adjust this script and put 20 in that list. Let's put 20 in this list. 20. So let's put 20 and let's see what is going to. We see the same command. I only add 20. Can you see? Not permitted in this class. So the moment you have this, it shows somebody that is 20 years of age is in this class and is not supposed to be in that class. So as a data analyst or as someone that is working in this app area, that is the way you can screen your data to be sure that you don't have outliers or someone that is not supposed to be in your data. That's how you can find out. So it is better because if you have millions of people you are dealing with in your data, I know when you work with, for example, if you work as a data analyst with companies like Google or you work with a big hospital, definitely you will have a lot of people that customers that a lot of information. So you cannot be doing that one after the other. You use approaches like this. Let's go to the next one I have, which is encapsulate with a function and find if some value appears in some list. So another thing we did the last time is called using the value approach, function approach. So we defined find underscore value to my value and the list. The same approach, if is find equals to false, for value in my list, if value is equals to my, if the value is equals to my list, if the value is equals to my value, is found equals to true, return is found. Now use your function. So let's run this. Now what you need to do now is to use, so we already defined this. These are the functions that we already prepared. We have find value. So in it we have my value, my list. Now, so the next thing is to define this. I think let me put this separately so that you can understand what that command is saying. Let me separate it. Okay. Now, so if you remember this function that we did that I think like a week or 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago rather. So we defined find value. So this is my, so let me use the previous example that we used the other time. Let's say find age. Yes, so that it will be easier for us. Find age, then this is age, and this is class age. Let's say this is our class age. Class age. Now, so we have to so age. So age. So it's value. Now in this, now we just like what we did here, that's what the exam team want to do now, but we are using a different approach of using a function. We are doing the same thing, but now we are using a function. Now this is age, so find age. The age is this that you want, maybe in this, just the same approach as this. Let me use this. Let me copy this so that I want this thing to be readable for you anytime you guys are working alone. Find age. So now, so we still have the same condition. We want to check the list of students to make sure that anybody below 20 is not in the class. So we define the function age comes first, then you have class. And we have this just like we have in the other one. So the next thing now is to define your list. Now, you have to define your list, your age, and your list. So let's use the same, let's use the same list that we used up. I'm just trying to use an example that we are familiar with. So age, let's say age now is equals to 20. Now, so if now the next thing now is to use the function that we already made, which is find underscore age. Find underscore age. So, and this is according to the arrangement here, age comes first. So age, and then my list, and the list is an age class, age underscore class, right? So if this is there, then it should be not permitted in this class. I'm just trying to use a common S. Can you see? We use S now. So sorry. So find age is not defined. No. Find age is defined. Okay, yeah, sorry. That's one of those things that you see with. So now can you see? So now we say, okay, using the function find age. The age that we are looking for in this list is 20 is here. And this is the list we are getting through to see if there is. And can you see? So what this means is check for the value of 20 if it is in this list. Check for age which is 20 is in this list of 23, 24, 54, 44, 64, 20. And once if it is there, not permitted is it should be printed. But if it is not there, print all are permitted. Can you see that? So why didn't you? Okay. So yeah. So because age is present in this list, it says not permitted in this class because 20 is present. If it is not present, so let's assume, let's change this to let's change this to maybe like this is to 40. Let's put 40 and run it again. It says not permitted in this class. Why? For age is not in 20, not permitted in the class. No. 20. Yeah, 20 says not permitted in the class. Sometimes let's change this to 40 and see what happens. It's not even changing at all. What is it? Okay. Okay. Age is not, yeah, 40 is not there. So let's change it back to 20. I don't know why this is not changing. Let's look at the script together. Some of the things. Okay. Now use age is equals to 20, age class equals to 23, 20. Okay. If age, yes, find age in class, So 20 is here. Okay. So print all are permitted. Okay. If find age, print. So yeah, that's the way it should be. Okay. Now if let's assume this is 60, it still be the same thing. It shouldn't be the same thing. So this thing you just have to understand the settings of the whole thing. So let me look at this. What is the problem? What do you think will be the problem here? If find underscore each is this, yes. Print all are permitted, not permitted, because I'm expecting this outcome to change since the values here are changing. Let me see. Okay, I'm coming to see this. Yeah, it's still working. Can it's still working? Yeah, let's see. Age is equal to this. Age. Okay. No, it's fine. Yeah, all right. So instead of this previous one that you use, you can still use that same if, elif, or else that we use in the previous classes together. So another thing that I want to show you here is what if you want to raise all the elements in a list to the second power? You want to raise them to a list in second, once in a simple step. Using this approach, if you have a, ordinarily, let me show this. Ordinarily, a range equals to, that means it's from 0 to 10, right? And you want to raise this, you want to raise the power, the raise to second power. If you want to do that, it's not possible for you to just put range 10 raised to power 2. It's not going to work. I purposely put this, it's not going to work. And it says unsupported unpriority types of raised to power. So raised to power square or maybe anything you want to do doesn't work in this approach. What you can do is to say x raised to power 2. Then for x in range 10. So now what this is saying is, the first thing is raise x to power 2. Then you say for x in range of 10, that's from 0 to 10. You cannot do that. Let me give you one example. Let's say we have h, right? Let's h want to raise to power 2 the age of every student in the class. For example, so raise to power 2, forget 2, or you want, let's say 3, for example. So the next thing to see for age in class, that's the name of our list. So the name of our list, so if you can use, let's use range. I will use range and I will use 10. So we did raise to power 3 of every element in 10. So we start from 0 to 10. And from there it says from 0 everything. Can you see the value? Let's alternatively to this, let's define list already. Let's use this list that is already defined. If you use this list, right? So you can say h raised to power 2, for example, for h in age underscore class. Yeah, I think we should put print. Because this is a list. Okay, sorry, it's a list. If not, because it is there's an error. Most of the time when you do something on Python and it gives you an error, it will definitely tell you exactly where the problem is. If you tell you, it says the problem is with this second command, and it's giving us exactly as at this point. So h raised to power 2, right? So for x, for age in age class, let's look at that together. Why it's not it's giving us this error? Invalid syntax. Age raised to power 2 for age. Okay, alternatively, let's do it. We can do it this way. For age in class, right? Yeah. For age in class, print age raised to power 2. Wow. So let's make it be in straight. Yeah. So we can do that alternatively. So this is our list for age in class. That means for every age in this class, print age raised to power 2. And I purposely put this n. Don't forget this n. The purpose of this n is to have it in a straight line. If you do not put n, let's see how it's going to print out now. Let me show you how it's going to print out. If you do not put this age, the printout will be like this. It will be vertical. So that's one aspect of dealing with. That's one way of dealing with data in pandas, Python, using in Python rather. So another one is when you already have a table. Let me show you this. Now, most of the time to data analysts or to anybody that is doing data analysis in either scientific or normal one outside, your data comes in format like this. Everybody enters their data into Excel. So in this data, what they are trying to do is they are trying to look at the rent fee from different area, from different neighborhood in a particular city. So in this is the neighborhood. We have Foster City, we have Palo Alto, we have Brisbane, all of them. Can you see now? So the next thing is to look at the price. So in this neighborhood, this Foster City, the price of one bedroom is $2,495. In this neighborhood, the Palo Alto, the price of, in this case, this price is missed. They forgot to put the bedroom, whether it's 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, they forgot. So when you as a data analyst, things like this happens, and there will be missing data. That shouldn't be your problem. Most of the time, what they do is either you remove the data. You can remove this particular data. When we get to data processing, we are going to work on that. That's not even what we are going to today. So for this place, we have for this neighborhood, the Brisbane, they have bedroom flat is 3,150, but in Palato, bedroom flat is 2,800. So for people that are into estate survey and the rest, they are trying to use this to they are using this to compare one neighborhood to another neighborhood. So when they send you an Excel of this type to you, when they send an Excel of this type to you, how will you be able to work with it as a data analyst? The last time, I think the last class, I taught you how you can access a CSV data using panda.read.csv. But today, I'm going to show you another method you can do that. And the first thing to do is to import the Python CSV module. Don't forget module and packages. And how to do that is import CSV, right? So once you import that, the next thing is with guarantees the file will be closed even if we hit an exemption. Yes. So this one is different from the previous one I taught you, but in this case, you have to be using this command. So with open now, this data is on my doc. I have it on, so when you want to import any data, that is, or maybe in CSV or any format, you must know the part that data is on your laptop. In my own case, this is the data rent_raw.csv. I have it on my C drive. My username document is on document. If your own data is on desktop, you put desktop. So you have to go and copy the part and have it on this up to this point, right? Then this is just to give me a clear arrangement. So the next thing is to give it a name. The name is my_CSV. Let's for example change it to my rent data. Let's call it my rent data, right? So my rent data is equals to, so csv.read. What we are saying this is a CSV file. Please, can you please read csv.reader or in this module? Can you please read it? So now in this data, let me show you the original one. These are rows, right? And these are columns. We have how many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rows, we have 1 to 16 rows. So what we want to now, we are saying for rows in this data that we already want to import, print the row. Can you see how we use what we did in the past? So anytime you have a data, that function for row for this can be used to do anything with whatever is the content of that data. So for rows, for every rows, let me show you the rows that we have: 1, 2, 3, 4, 16. So we are saying for all the rows in this data, so let me change it. We change it to rent data, right? Print row, and that is what we have here. So if I should open this, let me open this and minimize and put it here. You can see the same thing that, so for each row, it was able to print each row. Can you see this row, neighbor, price, bedroom, date, square feet, longitude, and latitude? Can you see the same thing is applicable here, right? The same thing is applicable. So that's, if you count it, it should be 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 16. So, but you won't be able to count if you are dealing with a much bigger data. In this case, we are just doing this as an example. So once you already, first thing is import CSV. Then you use this command which open in bracket the path to your folder. You can see in my own, I have it in data, and I have rent_raw.csv, and I put this code so that it can give me a good arrangement. Okay, if I do not put this rule, the arrangement won't be straight like this. So that's why I put R is for row and coding for this non-line, new line, none. I don't want it to give me a new line. It just be like that. Then once you do that, we can now, when you are as a data analyst, you should be able to manipulate your data. You should be able to work with your data in different dimensions. Now, what I'm trying to do here is to look at the headers. The headers are these: neighborhood, price, bedroom, date, square feet. So all I do is see the same thing, I import it. Let me change this to, it's not my CSV, we call it my rent data. Yeah. So your own name too could be anything. It could be my rent, it could be rent, it could be rent data. Any name, just know your file. So my rent data. Oh, let me go and see if I get the rent data. So now I want to look at the headers. The headers, that's this one, these are the headers. This, can you see neighborhood price? The under neighborhood, we have the different neighborhood, different prices. So once you do that, just say header is equals to next, open bracket. Next is a function, open bracket, then the name of your data frame, and it gives you, it out to you all the data, all the header, neighborhood. Can you see how we are able to extract this one out of this place? So neighborhood, price, bedroom. These are the data that was got. These are the information, the basic information they got from their search. Okay, what is the neighborhood? What is the price? What is the bedroom? What date? What is the square feet of the room? If it is 3-bedroom flat, what is the square feet? What is the longitude and latitude of that location? For for a for a medical study, it could be name of drug. You understand? Maybe name of drug, it could be HIV drug, asthma drug, cancer drugs. Then the price of it. Then they can say, okay, hospitals, date, age of the patient. You understand? And maybe the weight and everything. So it depends on the kind of study they are doing that they are getting data for. So in this case, now this one, they are trying to look at, maybe they are trying to see how the price of rent varies from one neighborhood to another neighborhood. And I think there are some neighborhoods that you can get a 2-bedroom flat for maybe like $300, like $700, and there are neighborhoods that even 1-bedroom flat you cannot get it for 1,000. So that's what they are trying to do. That's what what they did here. So now when you are looking, so you want to say, okay, what is the index zero, the zeroth column from here? Column, and don't forget I said this is column 1, column 0. No, index start from 0. If you remember, this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you look what is in index 0, in neighborhood is index 0, right? If you look for index 2, index 1 is price. So let me try to show you this so that you can know. So this is 0, neighborhood is 0, price is 1, bedroom is 2, date is 3. So let's try to put, let's do this. Let's put 3 and see. So date is, so most of the time when you are doing your study, when you are doing your data analysis, it is always important to look at just when you are doing data analysis, it is good for you to look at your data and understand your data arrangement. Then it will be easier for you to work with it. So these are one of the ways to look at your data. So now let's for each rule in the data set, let's print price. Now, if you look at this that I'm showing you, you have neighbor, we have price, we have bedroom, we have date, we have this. You can decide to say, okay, I want to work with the price first, for example, or you want to work with a particular rule. It depends on which one. So you can take out one of them. So in this case, let's work on price. So what you did is you open it with this command. Then the data we have is my rent data, my rent data. Now, print rule index 1. If you look at it, what is rule index 1? This is 0, 1, price. Price is the rule index 1. If you are looking for, if you want to take, if you want to take the longitude out, we have to get the index of longitude. That's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will be 5. But in this case, we want to use price, for example, so we put 1. And that is why it's able to print. Can you see price? It prints all the lists in price for us. And if I should open, I'm trying to open this raw data for you on Excel so that you can see that price. The first one is 2,495, right? And the last one is 2,499. So we were able to extract price only from the whole table. So for example, now let's say you want to look at index 2, index number 2. Let's say you want to look at bedroom. What index is bedroom? Even without looking, you can look it from here. This is 0, 1, 2. That's 2. So just put the index number, row. So for row in my underscore CSV, print row index number 2. And that's why we have bedroom. That's 1. So it gives ordinary bedroom. So you may want to do a plot of bedroom versus price. Maybe when you want to say, okay, how does the bedroom and price, how do they relate to each other? Do you understand? Let me see if I can do, if we can do that. Let's print is to, let's do, sorry, to be rent data, rent data. Let's just rent data dot histogram of, let me see, I think this, okay, data put is not going to work. Let me delete it. I think I will show you that later when we get to another data frame. Okay, so so this, you can separate different column in case you want to plot one column against another column. So let's go to this one, this now. So if you look, so let's create a new list now. All this bedroom header, all this one that we are looking, is still part of the big data, and you can decide to just give it a new name. You can take it for example, we want to take out the price now. So create a new list, contain only the column of price only, a new list that will contain only the column of price. So what you do there is prices equals to this, and this is what we call an empty list. Nothing is in that list. So once we import this again, we call this my rent data, right? My rent data. Now, if you remember the function append. Append is used to add a variable into a list or a dictionary. So the price we have here has no value. It's an empty list. Now, we now said, okay, for role in my data, in rent data rather, in my rent data, can you please go to role 1, role index 1, which is my price? Can you carry every value that is in that role 1? All this, let me go back. Price, can you see? Okay, this one will be better. This, can you take everything that is under index 1? This rule, this index 1. Can you please take everything for index 1? Can you please take it and append it to the list of price and print price? That's it now. So that's when we have price. We now have all the lists. As so anytime we want to work with price only, we don't need to be visiting my data again. We can just work with price because we already made price a new data set. So now, but the problem is this list has a couple of problems. First, it includes the header. For example, now if you want to multiply, let's say you want to multiply this price by 20, Let me give you one example. You will see what I'm saying. Let's say price. Okay, let's say for price and prices, isn't it? Print price multiply by 2. Now, okay, let me, I don't know, can you see what happened here? It's, for example, the first one is 2495. Instead of giving me the value of 2495, no, price, give me 2. What that means is this price that we have here is a string. It's not an integer that we can do multiplication on. You cannot do mathematical work on a string, right? So that's why I said this has two problems. Problem one, it includes the header, the price. So we have to remove it. Second, it is all string, even though prices are numeric. Even though they are numeric, but they are presented as string. So there is need for us to convert. After we remove the header, the price, we need to convert this to an integer, right? And thirdly, it contains some empty strings. Like this place, this value is empty. So what do we do? You have to remove that. You understand? So, and how do we do that? To remove the first element, which is the header, the price. What we just need to do is prices equals to prices one this. What that means is, can you please remove the first in that? So this price has been removed. Can you see the difference between this? This one has price, this one has no price because we already removed the price. Now the next thing is to convert. Let's convert the price string to an integer. It's now converted to an integer. We convert it to an integer now. So how do we do that? So we say for prices in prices, print integer. The first thing is to, don't forget, this is a string. We first of all convert it to a float and finally convert it to an integer. So now this particular command that I use here, if I should use this command again, it's going to give me a good value. It won't give me abnormal value. I will show you why this command is giving us is because of this empty string. So for prices in prices, print prices. Sorry. Okay, it's not going to work because we should have made this as a okay. I'm coming. Okay, let me remove this. Don't let me put too much confusion. Okay, so we successfully convert this to an integer now, right? So you can't convert an empty string. The problem why we're having this command here is because there is an empty string here, and you can't convert an empty string to a numeric type. It's not going to work. What you need to do is for price in prices, if not price equals to empty, can you see what happened? If not price equals to empty. So if not price equals to empty, print integer, convert the float to an integer. Yes, print none. That is what we do. I want to take that point again. This particular point is empty, right? And we need to prove, we say for price in prices for all of them, right? If not, so that means that means anywhere that price is not empty, anywhere that price is not empty. So from here to here, price is not empty. Even here to here is not it's only empty here. So if not, price is not empty, you can now convert all of them to an integer, and that means converting all of this from here to here to an integer, and this to an integer, and leaving this. Now, yes, that means if s is empty, print none. Don't put anything there. That's what it means. Can you see? So let's now. So for price, in prices, print come. Let me remove this to avoid confusion. So when you have data to work with as a data analyst, I'm telling you there will be a lot of missing data that you will be aware or not aware of. There will be a lot of missing data, and as a data analyst or anyone that is working with the data, it is your duty to make sure there is no data missing in your data. There is no particular value that is missing. If a value is missing, it is your role to delete, to remove, so that it won't affect your final evaluation. So that's that. So that's where we are going to stop with data, working with data files. So by the next class, we are going to work on cleaning up data. So after you have seen, for what we did now, I've shown you how you can work with the data in a list, and how you can also work with the data from a data frame like this. I showed to you. So those are the two approaches. And another approach, let me include this. Let me show this, how you can also import a data from. Let me show this. Okay, let me give this. Alternatively, which was what I did last week. Let me put alternatively. No, let me put it here. I don't want to. Let me go and put it down. So alternatively, let me come down here. Okay. Alternatively, you can import your data frame using pandas, or just to import pandas as PD. I think I mentioned you can just say, okay, let's just say import panda, right? Okay, let me now. So let's call it rent data equals to pandas dot read underscore CSV in bracket. Then instead of using this app, you see, this one approach of importing the data frame. Another approach is this one I'm using. So just copy the part of where your data is in on your local disk. So just put it here. Then you can now put rent data. This is the most popular method that people use, and this method actually, it doesn't require you to be repeating this every time, or this command every time. No. Can you see it? So you can see the presentation of this method is different from how this one presented it, isn't it? Can you see? That's why this other one is clearer. This one gives us a very clear visualization, and that's why people prefer to use the pandas. Pandas is a wonderful package in what is it in Python that people use for data analysis. So can you see how this one presents this? And this one you can decide to view, if you can decide to say, okay, let me look at the first 10, rent data dot head. This head means give us the first 5 data. Can you see? It gives you the first 5 from index. This one is even going to label the index from index 0 to 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Index 0 to 5. If you want it to show you the first 10 in it, if you don't put any number inside, it will give you the first 5. But if you put number, it will give you the exact number that you want it to give you. Can you see this one is different from the other method of viewing data that I mentioned that we first of all did? Then if you want to look at the last, so this one just put this is the name of your data, rent data dot. If you want to look at the last 5, the head is the first top 5, tail is the last 5, and run, it will give you the last 5. Can you see? Now, in this one, if you want to look at, maybe you want to look at neighbor, you want to see the result for neighborhood only. All you need to do is rent data dot. So it will go into rent data dot and neighborhood. Can you see? It extracts, because you already said it to it, okay, I want you to go into this data that, we already give the name of our data is rent data. So we say import this data from the laptop and assign it a name called rent data. This one is more convenient for people to work with than the first method I give to you, but it's good you know the two methods. Can you see? So in this case now, you can decide to say you can do. Let's look for price. Like we work with price on the other hand, dot price. So can you see price? You can decide to give this price you can give it its own name. Let it stand alone. You can say, and let's give it rent price, right? Equals to rent data dot price. So rent prices equals to rent data dot price. So let's going to print rent prices. So this one is more straightforward. I think by the time we are going to do the data processing, we are going to use this approach. This approach is more straightforward than this other approach that we first of all talk about. But it's good as a Python programmer to have understanding of the two methods. So it's good to have understanding of the two methods.